It's 2026, and I'm going to tell you about the retirement lie that's costing Americans millions. So if you're planning on retiring at 65, can I ask you a question? Why? Why 65? Why is that the number that by and large all Americans choose to say, when I get to 65, I'm going to retire? Why do people say you may already be thinking this way? You may already be making one of the most expensive mistakes of your life. And why is that happening? Well, I think it started with this idea that 65 was when, for a lot of Americans back in the day, that was when full retirement age kicked in, FRA. Now that wasn't, you could wait till 70, still can, and you got more. You could claim it at 62 and you got less, but 65 was kind of this, I'll work till 65 and get Social Security. That's the origins of it. It was never designed to fund a comfortable retirement in the first place. It was an addition to. It was never supposed to be this idea. So if you could have retired at 55 and you chose to work 10 more years because you just thought you had to work till 65, well, what if you're unfortunate enough to pass away at 70? Tell me how that worked out. Not too good. What about this? What if you could have retired at 55, or maybe not fully retired, but left that job that just wasn't what it once was, and you could have gone on to something you were more passionate about? Why didn't you? Because you had this in your mind that 65 was when people retired. Longevity has completely changed the math in this. Retiring at 65 could mean you're funding a 30-plus year retirement. And for most people, that means they're doing it without income planning because they've been told by Wall Street, just get a certain number of money. You need $1 million, you need $2 million, you need $5 million. The Bible is very clear. I've said it many times. You cannot build your walls high enough. You can't store up enough grain. No matter what you think, it's not about a number. Remember, the silent killer of retirements is something called sequence of returns risk. Timing matters way more than a return. Most retirement calculators dangerously overestimate or are optimistic about this. The difference between not running out of money versus living large in retirement has a lot to do with timing, and guess what? I don't control timing, and you don't either. That's why we have to build a retirement plan to take that completely out of the equation. I want to think about it this way. Why, and how about this? You decide you're going to retire at 65, that's always been your plan, but at 62 you get fired from the company for no reason of your own. Somebody new took over, they didn't like you. You know, you're bald-headed like me and they want people with hair on their head. I don't know, who knows what it is. You're outsized, downsized. You're forced to retire 3 years sooner and it hits you square in the face, and you were planning on building a retirement plan when you got closer to 65. But yet retirement slapped you right in the face at 62 and you have no idea what to do, but you got to do it right now because you no longer have a job and you really don't feel like going and trying to find one. That happens to many people. Well, why do you have to retire at all? That's me. Why do I have to retire? Well, the answer is I don't. I like what I do. I love helping people. This is so much fun. So I want you to think about this idea. Retirement is not about an age. Retirement's about choosing how you want to spend your money in retirement while never breaking the number one rule of retirement: don't run out. It's simply a math problem. And the sooner you start believing the myth that there's some magical number you have to retire at, the more control you gain over your life. If you want a retirement that's actually enjoyable, not just survivable, you got to start planning different. We got to start with the number one thing you must have in retirement: income. All planning for retirement should start with income. Income is your outcome. You want to know the outcome of your income? The outcome of your retirement? Tell me the income in your retirement. Income is the outcome. Outcome is determined by the income. It's as simple as that. Hey, here's the deal. I want to get this content out to more people. You got to hit that like and subscribe button. And I want you to think about living large like this. Living large is not about having more, it's about fearing less. Are you sitting on the sidelines right now because you have fear of breaking the number one rule of retirement? Potentially. Are you waiting for a magical number because that's what everybody else told you to do? Potentially. It can all change and work in your favor, and you can break this rule of retirement and not cost yourself millions in the process.